Looks like the already staggering 37-count indictment against Trump in the federal classified documents case may have only been the beginning. According to a new report in The Independent, White House correspondent Andrew Feinberg has reported that prosecutors are now prepared to bring an additional 30 to 45 criminal charges against Trump in the coming weeks. Reporting suggests that the DOJ has made preparations to bring a superseding indictment, a second set of charges against an already indicted defendant that could include more serious crimes, and most importantly, that they could come in different venues, as opposed to putting all of the DOJ's eggs in the Judge Cannon basket in Florida. That is especially important given the fact that we already know that Judge Cannon has gone out of her way to interfere in the federal case on Trump's behalf. Not only was she appointed by Trump himself, and not only is she the least experienced judge of all the judges for the Southern District of Florida, but she most notably tried to sabotage the DOJ's efforts to investigate Trump for the very documents at question in this case by appointing a special master to review those documents that the FBI seized from Trump. She claimed that Trump deserved special treatment because, quote, as a function of plaintiff's former position as President of the United States, the stigma associated with the subject's seizure is in a league of its own, because apparently no one is above the law except when Judge Cannon says that Trump is. It was a ruling so erroneous that the conservative U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit rebuked her, writing, "The law is clear. We cannot write a rule that allows any subject of a search warrant to block government investigations after the execution of the warrant. Nor can we write a rule that allows only former presidents to do so." And so given the fact that she so obviously interfered in this case on Trump's behalf, it would stand to reason that the DOJ would hedge its bets in terms of bringing indictments in different venues that don't rely on Trump appointees who've proven themselves to be in the tank for the former president. In fact, this reporting is especially timely given the release of audio recording of Trump saying that he was in possession of a still classified document regarding a potential attack against Iran. Here's a quick clip of that.
Bad, sick people.
That was your coup, you know. Against you.
Well, it started right at the
beginning.
beginning.
When Milley's talking about, oh, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Milley, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him.
Wow.
We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found. Isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time, you know.
she'd send
Private email.
she'd send it to Anthony Weiner,
Yeah.
the pervert.
Please print.
By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying because we were talking about it, and you know, he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassify.
figure out a yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, you know, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, if Jack Smith is going to charge Trump for that, it wouldn't be in Florida with the rest of the 37-count indictment because it didn't take place in Florida, it took place at Trump's golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. Meaning that would have to be the venue for that case should the special counsel ultimately opt to bring an indictment there. In our most recent episode of The Legal Breakdown, I spoke with former federal prosecutor Glenn Kirshner about exactly the issue of another indictment possibly happening in New Jersey.
Because that conduct happened in New Jersey, to the extent it constitutes a crime, that crime would have to be charged in New Jersey. That is where the federal prosecutors would have what's called venue. Venue is a fancy term for where is the right place to bring a charge. Ordinarily, it's where that crime occurred. So what Jack Smith did is he dropped information about it in the Florida indictment. Why? Because it's relevant to Donald Trump's course of conduct. So let me do a quick law school class. There's something called Federal Rule of Evidence 404B. What does that stand for? Uncharged misconduct cannot typically be brought in as evidence at trial. It's called the propensity rule. Prosecutors can't just throw a whole bunch of dirt into the mix saying, look at all of this other bad stuff the defendant did, even though he's not charged with it, because there's a rule that says you can't introduce evidence that somebody has the propensity to commit a crime unless that evidence falls into a certain exception. So you can put uncharged misconduct, like what Donald Trump did in New Jersey, into the Florida indictment if it's relevant to show a common scheme or plan, if it's relevant to show motive, knowledge, or intent, if it's relevant to show that there was no accident or no mistake involved in the defendant's conduct. And frankly, this evidence fits all of those exceptions, because what it makes clear is not just that Donald Trump was unlawfully retaining classified information, but he says on the tape, I could have declassified this when I was president. I didn't. I can't declassify it now. Therefore, it's still secret. All of that will become relevant in the Florida prosecution. But if it was going to be charged as a crime, it would have to be charged up in New Jersey.
Now, while it would be to the DOJ's benefit to hedge their bets and bring another indictment in New Jersey where there won't be a lackey judge and a pro-Trump jury pool, keep in mind that Trump could then flip the script by filing a motion to consolidate the two cases and have them tried in one place. And of course, that place would most certainly be Florida. So a lot remains to be seen, both in terms of whether Jack Smith even decides to bring these other indictments forward, whether he does so in a venue other than Florida, whether Trump will ultimately try to undermine Jack Smith's efforts to split the cases if Smith does seek a different venue, and then, of course, whether the DOJ will ultimately be successful in keeping those cases separate, meaning that we're not even close to a resolution on how things will proceed in this case. But I would say this. None of these developments are good for Donald Trump. I mean, let's be clear, there is not a world in which an audio recording of Trump himself effectively admitting to being in possession of classified documents helps his case. In fact, there is arguably nothing worse for Trump's case than evidence straight from the horse's mouth virtually confessing to the crime, which is only slightly worse than the fact that another set of evidence comes from Trump's own attorney, Evan Corcoran, thanks to the crime fraud exception. And not for nothing, but when the bulk of the evidence comes from the criminal himself and his own lawyer, that doesn't exactly bode well for Donald Trump. So if you want to stay on top of legal news, make sure to subscribe to this channel for updates and videos like this one, and as part of my legal breakdown series with Glenn Kirshner. Because if one thing is clear, it's that things are going to get a lot worse for Trump in the coming days and weeks. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.